so moving right along to digital audio, which has an important part in your marketing mix. So what is digital audio? Well, for starters, it's the opposite of terrestrial radio. And as you know, with terrestrial radio, you think of stations that you tune to in your car. And for terrestrial radio, it's all about reaching people that listen to that particular radio station. For digital audio, on the other hand, think your subscription-based services like Pandora and Spotify. And there's various kinds of things that qualify as digital audio that include your streaming music, digital radio stations, so listening to those traditional radio stations, but over their website or through their app, connected cars, smart speakers, and podcasts. So why does digital audio matter? Well, 51% of US adults' total audio time has been spent listening via digital services in 2021, and 70% of US adults listen to digital audio content at least once a month in 2020. So as you can see, these numbers really explain the significance of digital audio and why it's an important part of your marketing mix to consider. So with traditional radio, as you know, advertisers buy a window of time, whether that's the AM drive, midday, PM drive, whatever it is. But the problem here is that your targeting has its limitations. There's no exact way to quantify how many people heard your ad and who these people are. Well, for digital audio, you have the capability to target people wherever, whenever, and however they listen. Plus, you have the benefit that it's an engaged audience who's very connected to what they're listening to. So chances are they're not playing with that radio dial or moving stations like they would in the car where they're changing the radio dial and flipping to find the songs that they want to hear. While digital audio does tend to trend on the younger side, so those millennials and Gen Z, it's important to note that realistically, people of all ages listen via digital audio, and they find what interests them and listen to that. Particularly in terms of podcasts, you do have a more mature, educated audience who's listening to things that interest them, whether it's medical podcasts or listening to things on making healthy meals. So that's an important thing to note. And one of the other benefits of digital audio is that the ads only play when the audience is listening, which makes them very effective. And that also explains why the listen through rates are reported to be in excess of 90%, which is huge. Yes, 90%. So with your digital audio, there's two objectives that you have as an advertiser. First of all, you're driving brand awareness. You're making people aware of what your brand is. And secondly, you're also triggering a direct response mechanism, or in other words, including that audience to take an action, whether it's visiting their website or downloading an app. And this is done through one of two options for your digital audio ads. First of all, you could have an audio ad, which is just a straight audio experience where you hear the commercial, whether it's voiceover or voiceover combined with the music bed. Or secondly, you could have an audio ad combined with a display banner, meaning that your audience isn't just hearing the commercial, but they're also visually seeing that display banner, which encourages them and actually makes it that much easier for them to click through on your ad. So to help get you started, just like with OTT, we wanted to provide some of the vendors that we work with for digital audio. And once again here, this is something we maintain on behalf of our clients, and we also handle the media buys for this digital audio.
Gabriella, before moving on to the next section, we do have a question in the Q&A. And someone is asking if we find that digital streaming services with a subscription to opt out of ads, is that a barrier to reaching the listeners?
That's a really great question. I think, I'd have to look at the exact numbers to see how many people opt out, but I know a lot of times, at least I can speak for myself, people tend to sometimes be lazy to take that extra step to opt out of something and pay that additional premium fee, while, like you said here, it is typically very cheap. But I think the majority of people that actually upgrade is much smaller in comparison to the people who just, for lack of better words, suck it up and just watch what they're interested in. But I do think, you're still reaching that very particular audience. So regardless of how many people might be opting out that way, I still think you are not throwing as big of a net out there, hoping to get, any type of fish. You're really focused on what you want. So overall, your quality of leads will be better and more aligned with what you're looking for.
Yeah, and
that's
your
question.
I'll add to that, just that when we're planning these campaigns, we can also target the audience size based on each platform. So we'd be able to see what would be the estimated audience size that we could reach and those who don't have subscription models or have opted out. So we'd be able to define if there's a large enough audience based on the geo, based on the demographics and the interests that we're going for. So that would provide some clarity at the planning stage.